All right. Okay. So yeah, back to reality. Oh boy, we got a dose of reality. We got 2 doses of reality. We got the Johnson & Johnson of football games last night, Will, as the Broncos 42-17. Lions beat us up.
They kicked our ass.
Yeah.
I was talking to the LTB crew on Wednesday, and I said the one thing that you have to do against the Lions is, and not this is like a novel take or anything, but you have to score first and probably get out to a 10-point lead, because if they want to run the ball, they're just going to destroy us in the trenches, and that's exactly what happened. But the frustrating part is not that they just, they didn't stand a chance. We got off to such a nice start on our first offensive drive, and then you get the fumble, and then for some reason, the creativity just wasn't there after that first series, and you go back to screen passes and check downs and long developing plays that end up in sacks or throwaways, and they just couldn't climb back and do it. Couldn't get a stop either.
They lost that game in the first quarter, where it was a winnable football game where the defense held the Lions to 0 points. It was that first drive where Russ fumbled, and then it was a drive or 2 drives later when on third down, Russ hits Troutman for what would have been a first down. He gets blasted in the face. There's no penalty called. He doesn't make the catch either. And if they kept that, if they score on that first drive, and if they're able to keep that second drive going and get 2 scores, like you just said, 10 points, 10-0 lead there, or God forbid 14.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Lead, then I think the rest of the game, Vance Joseph continues to do what he likes to do in blitz, which it felt like they didn't blitz at all. It felt like they played zone all night and just got fucking picked apart.
Right, and that's I think Zach Seeger said this too. He threw out a stat about Jared Goff's passer rating when he's facing a 4-man rush versus when he's getting blitzed, and which makes it the most obvious thing to do, just blitz every other play. And you saw it a very, very select number of times that when they did get pressure, whether it was kind of organically or they sent someone, he really just doesn't know what to do. But if you give him time, he showed, he's as good as anybody.
He will crucify you.
He will crucify you.
For 5 touchdown passes.
It didn't even – I just kind of looked up and it's like, oh, he's got 5 touchdown passes. It didn't even feel like it. I was like, he's probably got 3. No, he's got 5.
Yep, 5. 5 of them.
It just it was such a barrage. They all just it just felt like one big touchdown pass.
Yeah, after the second quarter, the Lions scored 3 of those touchdowns in the second quarter. Broncos go into halftime down 21-0. It just felt like the game was over at halftime. Even when the Broncos came out of was it right out of halftime, or did they go 3-0 and then do I forget, but they drove down, they scored on the
first drive,
the little hump TD that was so close to not being a TD, but it was a TD.
Shocking.
During the game, ESPN, the little game cast, said that the call had been reversed and it wasn't a touchdown. So I was losing my mind. And then we came out of it and they gave it to him. So I was like, okay, cool. But even then, it just didn't feel like they were going to be able to score enough points to keep up with Detroit. And immediately we were proven right, because Detroit just went down and scored a touchdown after that. So there was that first quarter where things could have changed. And then in the third, come out, score a touchdown, and you just need the defense to get 1 stop. And they didn't. They let the Lions go up 28-7. I was like, there's nothing's going to happen. And they got dominated in the trenches. Our offensive line couldn't block. The only guy I felt like on defense that was effective was DJ Jones. He had a few nice plays in that game. He was the only guy up front that won any of his battles. Secondary was picked apart. They were also, did you notice they were playing 3 linebackers a lot, at least early in the game? Drew Sanders was out there with Singleton and Jewell. And we haven't seen him do that much this year either. And I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I can tell you that it didn't work. It definitely didn't work. I just haven't seen anything from Sanders yet that
No.
makes
And it's not
me
to say that he won't get there, but
right.
It felt like the defense, it was like Vance Joseph tried to do something completely different with the defense in this game and paid the price. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it felt like whatever they were doing earlier during the win streak that was working was like, nah, let's do a different approach here. Let's try and trick Detroit. They think we're going to do this, but we're actually going to do this.
That's kind of the thing is like when you're an aggressive defense and you kind of thrive on getting takeaways and just pressure and big sacks, like it's not happening, then things can go wrong really, really quickly like they did. And this team's just I think, probably the scheme was not very sound at times, or whatever the game plan was. Clearly it didn't work. But the thing that was so noticeable too was the lack of pressure.
Yeah.
Like they just got handled so thoroughly.
Yeah.
And it really makes you, it just kind of shows how one-dimensional we are as a team. Like if the game script goes according to plan, we're capable of winning a game. But if that deviates 1 inch from what Sean Payton drew up, it's just game over. Like we saw early, it felt like an early season game.
It did. No, 100%. The pressure on defense was noticeable. Nick Bonito did not play, so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't really know. And the other part of that too is if the Broncos can't run the football effectively on offense, the offense also does not work as well. And even when they run effectively, the offense still has limitations because of Russ. Because I think the way Sean Payton and Russ operate together, they do it effectively, but Sean Payton knows there's a good chunk of the field where Russ just isn't going to be able to get the ball to on any sort of consistent basis. And that is the middle of the field. And they got Jerry Jeudy there early, but like that's just a limitation in his game.
Right.
Seahawks
and they had to
We've seen it. And I think Sean Payton's like, you know what? That's fine. We're going to exploit where he can take advantage of the defense. And this was a game where since they can't run the ball, then the defense, they don't have to do anything. They know what Russ does well, so they just stop it. And I saw Javonte Williams like slip for no reason. I saw Jaleel McLaughlin almost pick up a first down and then go backwards for no reason. There's just like a lot of weird things going on in the game that just they couldn't get any forward push against the Lions front at all for the run game. And if the run game don't work, the Broncos offense don't work. The Broncos offense can't get no pressure. The defense don't work. So yeah, it was a bad game.
Right. And you don't need the running game to crank out however many yards the Lions had last night. You just need to get yourself in a favorable down and distance, and then Russ can usually, he can do all right and keep you on schedule half the time. But no, if Javonte is just getting like swallowed up at the line of scrimmage every play, or it's just not happening. But I wanted to ask you a question, kind of watching that and seeing all the flaws that are prevalent across the entire team. Like, what's the one thing that you feel like they need to fix this offseason? If you had like one, you get
I could make one area really, really good.
Yes.
Oh God. Oh man. Probably the defensive front, maybe.
Just like
Like
a space eater up there.
yeah, like because they can win games with Russell Wilson. They can win close games with Russell Wilson. They're never going to torch opposing defenses. And that's assuming they decide to stay with Russ. But like I personally just want a better quarterback. I want a quarterback that like if I can like and I'm not trying to just be the person who just blames everything on Russell Wilson. And I was saying this during the live stream. You can win with Russ. He does some things incredibly well. He's frustrating, but I think Sean Payton's offense needs a Sean Payton quarterback, and I don't think Russell Wilson is a Sean Payton quarterback.
Yeah, I think he showed that on the sideline.
Yeah, and I don't want to read too much into it, but yeah, there's things Sean believes Russ should be doing better, and that's true for where Russ is in his career. And I think Sean just wants a guy who can win from the pocket, make on-schedule throws, quick reads, and Russ can't. He just can't fucking do it, and he never will be able to. No, and it's fine. He was able to play different football his entire career and be really successful. But at this point, we want to see an offense that can score like 30 points, 35 points sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, even kind of just from like a viewing perspective, yeah, you can win with Russ.
Yeah.
But it's just terrible football to watch.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's just such a slog, win or lose.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's never clean. It's just ugly. There's no rhythm to the offense ever. You're just clenching every time they drop back and kind of hoping for the worst. And then once in a while, Cortland Sutton does something cool.
Yeah. Cool.
But it's such a hard watch. Yeah. I've never gotten the sense that Sean Payton wants to move forward with Russell Wilson. But the thing is it wasn't like he wasn't in the top 5 reasons they lost last night. He just
Russ.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes you want a quarterback that can still make plays when things aren't going the team's way. And he's not. Like he is it's weird to call someone like a system quarterback because you expect a system quarterback to like make plays on schedule.
Right.
But he's just kind of like a circumstances quarterback at this point in time.
Yeah.
Where if everybody's doing their job, like, yeah, he's good enough to win. But he can't overcome anything negative on offense typically, save for like, you know, once in a blue moon when he evades the rush and throws to someone downfield, but you can't count on that consistently whatsoever. I think one of the things that's why it's so disheartening last night is because you're like, okay, we're getting manhandled on both sides of the trenches.
Yep.
So we got to upgrade there clearly. Our cornerback too is tough. Like when they were going after Surtain at points last night.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't holding up. Including like an overthrow to Jameson Williams that if Goff puts a little less air on it, that's a long completion. But you saw Laporta boxing him out for one of the 3 touchdowns, and they just generally weren't scared of him.
No.
Which happens.
Yeah, and like it was a situation with Surtain where I thought there was a handful of plays where the coverage was tight and you could say like decent coverage, but Goff just threw the ball into a nice spot, and the Lions ball catchers made plays despite Surtain being right there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a case where the pass rush always makes the secondary look better, and when it's not there, you see the flaws.
When the ball's like a little ahead, a little behind.
Yep.
So maybe good coverage turns into like an incompletion versus that's a 17-yard gain. Even though right there.
But yeah, I mean, seeing Fabian Moreau get cooked at points last night, also made me think, maybe if they have maybe their first rounder, you could go so many different directions there. Like you could spend that on a cornerback and say like, yeah, that was a good pick. That was a necessary pick. You could spend that on a, interior lineman, be like, yeah, it was a good pick. Edge rusher, yeah, we needed that. Linebacker, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the Broncos' success has been propelled by the defense, but it also feels like there are the most holes that need to be filled on the defense.
It's such a weird paradox.
It is. It's the Russell Wilson.
It is.
The defense is also Russell Wilson. Oh,
the whole team has assumed the personality of Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they're both good and bad.
It's like Singleton's like the number one culprit there.
Yeah.
Like he makes some incredible plays, and then you look at the stats, and he's like, oh yeah, he's also like one of the league leaders in missed tackles.
Yeah, weird.
I know. No, so it's such a weird thing because we do the LTB, and then you hear Zach Seegers being like Singleton's terrible. And I'm like, yeah, you make a good point. And then we talk to Derek Wolfe and be like, Singleton's an incredible player. I'm like, yeah, I guess you make a great point there.
Yeah.
I think he might just be the greatest, worst player of all time.
Yeah, no, I think he's fine. But
the whole defense is like that.
Yeah. Josie Jewell got worked by Laporta last night on his way into the end. Laporta made Josie Jewell look stupid, and then Pat Surtain just bounced off of Laporta as he trotted into the end zone. I was like, oh, man. I was like, that – because you compare Laporta to Gronk in terms of, like, his production as a rookie. I was like, that's a Gronk-looking style play right there where he just looks bigger and stronger than everybody on the field.
Yeah, they nailed that pick. Yeah, I mean, that's just like we should, because I think we were talking about it before we hit record, but Detroit's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, they're scary when things are clicking for them. And that was a huge win for them last night too, because I think they had a couple teams, maybe Green Bay especially, on their heels. But if they get a home playoff game or two,
yeah,
like they can win those pretty easily.
Yeah, and you could tell it was loud there too. It was loud for the Broncos.
Yeah, you looked in the stands and they were not as much orange as you might expect.
So yeah, they're a good football team. They got a key win. It was a key win a key game for both teams. One team showed up.
One team was not ready for prime time.
Yeah. When the Lions are playing to their script, they can beat anybody in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the Broncos are playing to their script, they can barely win most games, and they still need a couple things to go their way. The Lions, they've lost some games that they probably shouldn't have this season, and they've won some games that they shouldn't have. But like overall, you like the Lions as a playoff team because they're so good up front on both sides of the football. And as long as Jared Goff is not making mistakes, then they are really hard to beat. And I thought maybe our opportunistic defense could force some of those mistakes in this game, and they were not able to at all. So
no.
It was a tough watch.
It was. It's always worse too when like the whole country is watching you get your ass beat, and then you have to go on Twitter and like Barry McCockner's talking shit about your team.
Yeah, and it was like out of nowhere, all the "Let's Ride" memes came back last night.
Yeah,
all the "This is the ride," and it's like a dead horse through the windshield of a car. It's a horse being thrown off a bridge. A dead horse being thrown off a bridge.
Couldn't they have buried this game at 10 a.m. on a Sunday?
No, we were winning too many games. They flexed it into prime time. The NFL.
Damn it, dude! Just make this a red zone game, please.
Please.
No more primetime games. No more primetime games for us, please. And of course, I say that, less than a week before we play on Christmas Eve.
Wait, is that next weekend?
Yeah. 7 days.
Oh my
7
God.
days.
Yes, it is. We got 1 week away from Christmas Eve. Holy crap. Okay. The worst part too, I made a pick'em on Underdog. And I got a little too optimistic about the Broncos. I took lower on Jared Goff, and he broke.
Was he low?
He broke that immediately.
Yeah.
I was red in the second quarter. I think because his fantasy point total was a little bit high, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe the Lions win this game because they run the ball a lot. It's not like a huge night from Jared Goff, but no, he had 5 touchdowns. My pick'em was shattered immediately. But if you want to play in pick'em games, do it over at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the code Let's Ride when you sign up, or the link in the description. They'll match your first deposit up to $100.
What?
Yes.
100?
You know what, Will? Why don't we actually just go ahead and make a pick'em for some of today's games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Everybody will know by the time I get this podcast up whether or not our picks were stupid or savvy. Wait, is this real? Wait a second. Did Colorado change? Oh my God, Will.
What happened?
Okay, so in the state of Colorado, we've only been able to pick fantasy totals for the pick'em games.
Yeah.
But right now I'm seeing options for yards. I've got the Scorcher picks. I haven't been able to do the Scorcher picks. Now, okay, so sometimes this happens where I am presented things that I can't play in the state of Colorado. But the reason I lost like 54 of these in a row is because like the fantasy totals, in my opinion, are a little harder to pick, other than like just a straight up stat that you're stacking,
It's more concrete. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you can pick one aspect of a player's game that you're really confident about. It's like like a guy can get a rushing touchdown, but not hit his fantasy total in points because maybe player X only had like 30 yards rushing in that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we got a featured pick here with Lamar Jackson. Okay, we'll say higher.
I don't know. That Jags defense is pretty tough. 0.5 yards.
0.5 yards. We got a half a rushing and a receiving TD for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. A half a rushing, so I can 1x. I'm going to go higher there. You have a boost. Oh, I can't do it with the boosted pick. Whatever. Give me New England. Ooh, actually, give me lower. I don't even care about the picks. I just want to see if this works now. Half rush plus a receiving touchdown. No.
I don't think they're giving the ball to Kelsey on a handoff.
Yeah. These are all Chiefs. Ooh, Ezekiel Elliott, half rushing touchdown. You know what? I'm going to take Lamar out because I do want to do the Scorchers. Give me this Scorcher.
You want to X your picks,
up, baby. Devontae Parker, 3.5 receptions. I don't like any of the Patriots offense.
No, I don't think they do either.
Half rushing TD. I'm high on Rachaad White right now.
He is on a scorcher of his own.
There you go. Okay. Ooh. Let's see. Let's go down here. Jordan Love. They're playing Tampa Bay.
3 rushing attempts feels very doable. Was it? Does a kneel down count as a rushing attempt?
I don't know. Here's your guy. We'll go higher on Dubs.
I like that.
All right, now here's the moment. Let's see if this actually works.
Okay.
If I do 50, I got the Scorchers. Ooh, look at that. It takes it all the way up to $2,734 in winnings because of those Scorcher picks. All right, now let's see if it does it.
Okay. All Scorchers must be correct. They will be.
Let's see here. Unfortunately, we do not offer rushing TDs, rush plus reception TDs, rushing damn it! It's all for nothing.
Well,
man, Colorado, get with it, bro.
Yeah, we got to start lobbying.
Yeah, why are you showing me all these then?
Just to piss you off.
Whatever. I'm not even going to set it now because I'm mad. I would be so good at Scorchers. Anyway, sign up at Underdog. And if you live in Colorado, no, you're just doing fantasy. It's still fun, but like, come on, Colorado. Anyway.
Come on. Code Let's Red.
Yeah. Now, the Broncos moving forward, they can win the next 3 games, and they still have like a 92% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, which they're all winnable games after Detroit. I think we underestimated Detroit as a winnable game, or at least I did.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of but the Lions just haven't been playing their best football lately, and that's why. That's why I thought it was winnable.
Yeah, I think I suppose the problem is that they weren't playing their best football, but and they are a really good team, but we also underestimated how poorly we match up against them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It was a bad matchup. The loss to the Texans hurts a lot worse right now for the Broncos. It's like every time they get the chance to take the playoffs into their own hands, this team loses. So they've fought back from being lifeless to having a chance, and we're not capitalizing on any of the opportunities where the Broncos can control their own destiny, which is hard to watch. But,
right.
We got the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Chargers again.
Yeah,
I think the toughest game might be the Raiders in that mix at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see whether the Patriots, whether that win against the Steelers was meaningful whatsoever in terms of them figuring it out.
Based on the Steelers game yesterday, I say no.
No, yeah. By the way, how much watching that Vikings-Bengals game, how much did it make you want T. Higgins in free agency?
Oh, a lot.
I was watching him and being like, holy shit, he's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah. Basically, if you get T. Higgins, you got 2 Cortland Suttons.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. And that's the only kind of receiver Russ can really throw to at this point.
Yeah.
It's a T. Sutton kind of guy.
Yeah. And no offense to Jerry Jeudy, but if you get T. Higgins, I don't ever need to see Jerry Jeudy again.
Yeah.
I want Jerry to go somewhere where a quarterback's going to find him when he's open, and I want him to catch it 80% of the time for that quarterback.
I don't think they need him, but if you put Jerry Jeudy on the 49ers,
oh god,
he'd be so good.
Yeah, he'd be very good on the Niners. I mean, hell, he'd be good with the Lions.
He'd be great. Yeah, he'd be great with the Lions.
Who else would he thrive with?
I think he'd be awesome with Miami.
Yes.
I don't think they would go after him for any reason, but
you know what? And if Aaron Rodgers plays next year, he would be good with the Jets opposite Garrett Wilson there. I think that's a nice fit too.
Yeah.
But T. Higgins. That touchdown grab by Higgins was just
the most I've never. That's not very often do you see something for the first time.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
That's true.
I saw that and I was confident. I've just never seen anybody do that.
Yeah. If you missed it, go look the T. Higgins catch up, but he catches a ball at the 2-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got 2 degrees of difficulty. It's first he jumps up with the defender right on him, high points, grown ass man's the ball, gets both feet in bounds, and then somehow just turns like this and just dips the ball past the goal line for the touchdown. It was
you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then his mom just destroyed someone on
Oh, dude, it was so good. It was
something like your son T can't catch a ball to save his life. And his mom goes, and your fat ass can't catch your breath.
Yeah. So good. So good. Yeah, I want that. I want that energy on the Broncos.
I'm
And that's the
just
thing,
giving
like,
Jake Browning too at this point. Because that's a guy who's like great on schedule.
Damn, the Broncos just poached the Bengals to rebuild their team.
Yeah, why not?
You know what? You could keep Russ and bring in Jake Browning, and pay Russ all that money and just start Jake Browning for pennies on the dollar.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Browning might be making himself a lot of money, depending on how the last 3 games go.
Yeah, the Bengals. It was a slow first half for Cincinnati.
He did miss that big throw to Charlie Jones. That hurt, but
I think my takeaway is just the Vikings defense is legit.
Yeah.
And but then he came through when they needed him. So our Jake Browning video is looking good, and I hope
Tommy
DeVito plays well today, so our video at least is relevant for another week for the Giants.
Yeah, that video turned out really well. I thought, did Johnny edit that one? It looked like a Johnny edit.
Yeah, and then I went in and put even a few more Sopranos references in.
I was like, damn, why didn't I think of that clip? Or
yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, like the script was good, it was solid, but you said I'm going to jam pack this thing with Soprano references, and I felt like you got a little lazy with the Soprano references.
I didn't.
I felt like, this doesn't seem jam packed. It seems packed.
It seems packed. Yeah, I should have jammed more in there.
I added probably like 5 or 6 after you finished the script, and then I watched the video that Johnny sent. I just watched through more Sopranos clips and just figured out where I could insert them that it kind of made sense.
Yeah, I wanted them to like really make sense, and I figured out after watching the video, it's just as funny if they don't make sense.
Yeah,
they're just funny clips.
They're just funny clips.
They're funny on their own, and they're funny if they make sense, and they're funny if they don't.
Sometimes it doesn't have to make sense. Just shove it in.
That our channel is proof of that, if nothing else.
That's right. Yeah.
Bad game.
Bad game. Let's win the next 3. Let's get into the playoffs. I just want one playoff game to feel like this season is a net positive. There's something to be said for burying yourself out of the hole the Broncos were in at 1-5, but
yeah,
it remains like this offseason is going to be really, I think, interesting and pivotal for the Broncos, and we'll be talking about it ad nauseum from January to February to March until it actually starts free agency, and then we get the draft. But it feels like they got to win a playoff game or get to the playoffs for Sean Payton to be like, yeah, we can do it with Russ.
Yeah, I just don't want to collapse. Like a couple of years ago with Fangio, they were 7-6. And then they ended up losing their last 4 to finish out the season. And I think the stats don't back it up whatsoever, but I do feel like there is some sort of momentum based on how you finish the end of the season going into next season. And I think the Lions are actually a pretty good example of that. Going back to winning 8 of their last 10 last year, and now they start what are they, 10-5 now, or 9-5?
Or no, yeah, they hit 10. They hit 10.
Yeah, I think they're 10-4.
Yes, Broncos are 7-7. Lions are 10-4.
Yeah, because we've been in this spot a couple of times, like the Vance Joseph team in 2018, 6-6, and then like, okay, this team has a chance to, you know, you can do the playoffs, and they lose their last 4, and that's it's just so disheartening. And then, yeah, like I said, 7-6, lose your last 4, 7-10, we're 7-6 again. We lose this one, or even like playoffs or not, let's try to finish it off the right way.
Yeah, they need to win all 3 games.
Yeah. If
they win 2 and drop 1, you feel like they did something. But this loss sucks because now they're behind all these teams right now. Now, the Bills and Texans play today, so that could change in terms of seeding. Stupid-ass Raiders are now just one game behind the Broncos, but if they won, then they are sitting at the top of the bubble. They're at 8-6. Maybe they're even no. Actually, I think they're in the playoffs if they won that game because they're ahead of the Bengals. I know that they were ahead before the Bengals won, so they would have that 6th seed, I believe. The Bengals would be 7. The Colts would be out. But now, like, we gotta win out, and we gotta hope all of the teams ahead of them lose a fucking game, which sucks. And I think they can win all 3 of these games. I just don't think they will. I think they're going to lose one of these next 3 games.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to sit at 9-8 to finish the season, technically above 500. Basically, the worst possible draft position they could be in terms of really being in the nice spot to get another guy.
Yeah, missing the playoffs, but not sucking.
Not being. They're going to.
Right.
What I feel like is at 9-8. The guy that they really need to help their team is going to be drafted right before they pick. Whoever that is, whatever position it is.
Yeah, quarterback,
they could just take
corner.
They could take Penix there. They could take Penix. They could take Nix. We don't know. We'll talk about all that later. I don't want to get into that shit right now. Let's just get.
We got
We're done.
Months and months to break that down, and
We're
we will. We're gonna be breaking down the film too, all 22 style.
You know, I went back and watched every snap of this quarterback from his college season, and I got some takeaways.
Really? Did you chart all his plays too, like me?
I charted them. I actually watched every offensive lineman and what their responsibility was, and I know it. I just know that this quarterback is the best, and I will reveal in 2 months who that is.
Cliffhanger.
Good night.
And John Elway played his entire career without an ACL and a penis.
And
he never beat Goff.
Good luck.